So today we're starting Matthew chapter 21, the Triumphal Entry. This will be verses 1 through 11. When they had approached Jerusalem and had come to Bethphage at the Mount of Olives, Jesus sent 2 disciples, saying to them, "Go into the village opposite you, and immediately you will find a donkey tied there and a colt with it. Untie them and bring them to me. And if anyone says anything to you, you shall say, 'The Lord needs them,' and he will send them on immediately." Now this took place so that what was spoken through the prophet would be fulfilled, saying to the daughter of Zion, "Behold, your king is coming to you, humble and mounted on a donkey, even on a colt, the foal of a donkey." The disciples went and did just as Jesus had instructed them, and brought the donkey and the colt, and laid their cloaks on them, and he sat on the cloaks. Most of the crowd spread their cloaks on the road, and others were cutting branches from the trees and spreading them on the road. Now the crowds were going ahead of him. Those who followed were shouting, "Hosanna to the Son of David! Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord! Hosanna in the highest!" When he had entered Jerusalem, all the city was stirred, saying, "Who is this?" And the crowds were saying, "This is Jesus the prophet from Nazareth in Galilee." So in this section, verses 1 through 3 describes the preparation for Jesus' entry into Jerusalem. 2 disciples are sent to retrieve a donkey and a colt, and if questioned are told to reply, "The master needs them." Verses 4 and 5 describe the prophecy of Zechariah 9, verse 9 being fulfilled. The king entered Jerusalem, gentle, riding on a donkey, on a colt, the foal of a donkey, highlighting the king's humility and righteousness. In verses 6 through 8, the disciples obey Jesus' command and mount the colt. The people, seeing him, throw their garments and cut branches from trees to spread on the road as a royal welcome. Verse 9, Jesus was being celebrated and welcomed. Verses 10 and 11, people asked who he was so that they could make a decision on what to do with this information: praise or rebel. Because during this time, they wanted to see who that was, right? Because they're all expecting their king to show up during this time. And as you know, Jesus was crucified, and on his tablet it said King of the Jews. While the Jewish people didn't agree with that necessarily, that's what was true. If you have any questions about this, feel free to ask, but I also do recommend that you take this scripture to the Spirit and ask what the significance of the scripture is. All right, so this is his entry into Jerusalem. He's being welcomed as king to fulfill a prophecy that was written before in Zechariah. There are many prophecies that Jesus fulfills throughout this time, and this is just one of the many. I hope you learned something today. We'll see you tomorrow.